Hi everybody, this is Sherry. I just finally am getting to a tutorial post and I wanted to share it with you. It's not my normal type of tutorial because I'm not actually going to be making the card. I'm just going to show you the products I use and then how I put it all together and show you the finished project. But I was in a hurry. It's for my card club that met earlier this week and I didn't have time to do the post at the same time. So let me show you what I used. First of all, I chose some paper, and I had this stack of paper that I picked up at Michael's, this recollection stack, and it was the Soda Pop collection. And this month's theme was kid birthday cards, and I thought these were nice, bright and cheery kid colors, and I wanted to use those. And so from this pack, I actually used every color in it but the red. And I used red just as a scrap, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. But I used the orange. Oh, I didn't use the pink. I used the orange and the green and the blue in my card. And then I had this really old Provocraft pad that I've had for years. Actually, it looks like it was even one I had in my store, so it's really old. And this was just a scrap pad from Provocraft, and there were a couple of different pages in it that I wanted to use. The main page that I wanted to use, and I just have a tiny scrap of it left, was this print here. I don't even know how well you can see it in the camera, but it just had pieces of candy all over it. But because I was making 10 cards and there were only 2 sheets of that paper in this pad, I didn't quite have enough. I only had enough to do 8 cards. So I also went through and found another similar pattern, and it was this pattern with just geometric shapes: hearts, triangles, squiggly lines, circles, squares, just all sorts of geometric shapes. So that's what I used on the other 2 cards that I ran short on. And then I also used my Stampendous set. It's the Happy Messages, and I used this Happy Birthday. I've discovered that I don't have a lot of birthday stamps, and since it was kid birthday, I wanted this one, and I decided for the sake of time that I wanted to just stamp it instead of doing Cricut cuts. It was just quicker. So I used this Happy Birthday sentiment right here and put it on the inside of the card, and I just stamped it in black using my black Excelsior pad that I've had for a long time. I used normal adhesive, and then I used this glitter glue from Studio G that I've showed you in other posts, and it did a really good job, and I'll show you what I did on this in a minute. And then the cartridge that I used was the Create a Critter cartridge, and I don't know how well you can see it, but on page 36 up in the corner there's a little cupcake in pink and purple and different colors, and I used that, and I actually cut all of the layers. I cut it at 3.5 inches, and I cut the shadow layer in the blue-green paper, and I used I cut the cake wrapper out of orange paper, and then I cut the frosting layer out of white cardstock just from my stash that I picked up from Walmart or somewhere. And then the cherry I cut red, and I was able to use the red cherry. I was able to use just scraps that I had. I just went in my scrap stash and got the red cherry. Now, one thing that I do want to show you is the cherry only cuts out in a solid piece. Well, I didn't want it all red, so what I did is I cut out the cherry in red, and then I also cut it out using brown scraps, and then I cut the stem off of the red cherry and I adhered it to the brown piece so that I had a brown stem and a red cherry. So, and I'll show all that to you in just a minute. So my card base was cut out of the green, and it was a 8.5 piece of paper folded in half, and then this was, now I've got to think here, this was 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and then I scored it at 4.25 inches and closed it. You can see here where I stamped my happy birthday. It was very simple. I was in a huge hurry. I had a lot going on that day, and I wanted to get a cute card. So this was the base and the inside of the card. Then on the outside of the card, I made the colored paper. This is the one with the squiggly lines. Here's one that I made with the pieces of candy, which I kind of like the candy better. And then you can see the shadow layer in the blue, like I was telling you. And then the base, the cupcake base, which is the regular cupcake here, using the shift key, and that's the main shape, I did in black so that you could see the black coming through the lines in the cupcake paper wrapper, and then also on the smiley face. And then you can see, I don't know how well you can see the cherry, but you can see I just took my scissors and trimmed off the stem here, and then adhered the red part to the brown cherry, so I had to have a nice brown trim. A couple other things I did to add to this is I ran the frosting layer before I adhered it to the other layers. I ran it through the Cuttlebug with the Divine Swirls, and it's one of my favorite Cuttlebug folders, but I really like it for cupcakes or anything that I want like a frosting effect, because it gives it swirls and reminds me of frosting. So that's one of the fun things I did. The other fun thing that I did is using the Studio G glitter glue, I ran it all over the top of the cherry. One of the cherries, I tried a couple of different colors. One of the cherries, I had some red stickles. I had 2 or 3 different colors of red stickles, so I decided to try one of those. But I like the clear white ones from Studio G. I just thought looked better. So that was a card. It was super simple. I popped all of the layers I just adhered using either my ATG or my Xyron little Xbox. But to put the cupcake onto the card base, I did pop it up on pop squares, and I used the big squares. I ended up using 5 of them just to make sure it was down good. So that was just a super simple card. Like I said, I had 10 of them that I wanted to make, and so I just whipped them out as quickly as I could that way. It's a little bit busier than is my normal style, but I thought it made a cute birthday card for a kid. So thanks for watching. Keep checking back. I have some fun things planned. The next Super Supply Saturday should be up in the next few hours if it doesn't beat this one up. And we'll get that going, and we're back on track again. Life is starting to become a little more reasonable for me. So keep watching for more fun projects, and thanks for watching, and thanks for taking the time to check out the blog. Have a great day.